good morning all of you. I hope you all are doing good. Good morning to all of you. So let us continue the discussion from where we left yesterday. Okay. What we left yesterday was this discussion of income. That what is income? We do not know what is income. The definition of income under the income tax law is not given. The meaning is not given. In fact, the definition is given, but it is given in an inclusive format. Inclusive format means the government says that income includes this. Government does not define the term income in an exhaustive manner, but rather they give you an illustrative list. They do not explain you in an exhaustive manner, right? So there is an inclusive definition, not an exhaustive definition in front of us. So what is the problem with inclusive definition? The problem with inclusive definition is it is not clear because it is inclusive. Because the definition is not exhaustive, it is not clear. The funda of inclusive definition is whatever you see in the definition is definitely part of definition. But whatever you cannot see in the definition can also become a part of this definition. That is the biggest problem of what? An inclusive definition. So if I say income includes business and profits and gains from business and profession. Income includes capital gains. Income includes gifts. Income includes lottery. Income includes rents. Income includes interest. Income includes dividend. Then if there is something similar to this, that can also come in this, because the definition given is inclusive definition. It is not exhaustive. An inclusive definition are always read as an illustrative definition. Those are not exhaustive definitions. Those are kind of illustrations which are given by the law. So something which is similar to what is given by the law can also come in the definition. Are you able to understand that? So this is the biggest problem of the definition of income. Now the government of India has deliberately done this. You also understand why the government will tell you an exhaustive definition of income. If they start to tell you an exhaustive definition of income, then they will close their door of incomes now. They are not interested in telling you exhaustive definition. That's the reason they tell you what? They give you an illustration, a list, and they said this is income, this is income, this is income, this also is included in income. All these things are included in income, and something which is similar to this can also come in the definition of income. So whenever there is an inclusive definition in the entire law, whenever it is there, believe me, because of the inclusive definition, there might be lot of disputes in the industry between the department and the SSE. There might be lot of litigation in the industry. The technical term for disputes is known as litigation. So there might be lot of litigation between the taxpayer and the department. Because the law is not clear, the law is not exhaustive. The law gives us only an illustrative list, that's it. It does not give us any kind of clarity. Okay. So let's read this particular thing once from the book so that this gives us further clarity. Come to page number. What is income? Page number 13.5. Let's read this discussion from here. Page number 13.5. Shall I? Shall I? Okay. The term income in general terminology means something which is a real income, which is regular in nature and it is derived from a definite source. This theory is called as real income theory, which was the base to draft the Income Tax Act 1961. Salary is an income because it is derived from a source, that is employment. Rental is an income because it is derived from a source, that is house property. Profits and gains is an income because it is derived from a source, that is business or profession. Interest, dividend and capital gains is an income because it is derived from a source, that is investments. Therefore, we can conclude lottery winnings, crossword, puzzles, gifts, non-compete fees, etc. are not income in real sense, as they are not regular in nature, and therefore to expand the base of income tax, the central government slowly and gradually started amending the definition of income given under section 224 to incorporate capital receipts or artificial incomes instead of increasing what? The rates of the income tax. Are you clear? Please say. Okay. So now, let's move on to the next part of this particular discussion. Pay attention, please, all of you. Shall I go ahead? Now, In practical life, there are three areas of dispute. Three areas of dispute. Now, let me put all these three areas in front of you. First area, second area, third area. Listen carefully. The first area of dispute between the taxpayer and the department is what is earned by the assessee, is it income or not? First of all, what is earned by the assessee has to be considered as income. Unless it is an income, income tax cannot be imposed. And for that, we need to read section 224, that is the inclusive definition of income. That will give us an idea whether what is earned by the assessee is coming in the definition of income or is it not coming in the definition of income. Okay. Now, once the answer to this question is yes, yes, what you are earning is a part of income. Once the answer to this question is yes, go ahead to the next one. Like example, what is earned by the assessee is salary. Is salary an income? Then go ahead with the second part. Just because you are earning a salary, it does not mean that it is taxable in India. The second thing which you have to see whether it comes in the scope of India or not. Once it is an income, the second thing which the assessee has to check whether it comes in the scope or not. And for that you will check what? You will check section, please say, section 5. And in section 5, first of all, you will find out the residential status of the assessee. And then accordingly, you will find out whether the assessee would be taxable in India or would not be taxable in India. Is it clear to everyone? Please tell. Okay. So now, suppose the answer to this question is also yes. Suppose. So both the answers are yes. The first answer, what is earned by the assessee? Is it income? The answer is yes. Suppose. What is earned by the assessee? Is it coming in the scope of India? The answer is yes. The assessee is resident. Then it will always come in the scope of India. The assessee is non-resident. Then it should be either accrued or it should be received in India. Suppose both the answers are yes. Now the third dispute, which we have not seen yesterday, so we will see today, is now you need to classify the income. When I say classify the income, what do I mean by that? I mean classify the income into proper heads. Is it important to classify the income under the proper head? Because wrong classification would lead to wrong computation. Because the computation mechanism of the 5 heads of income differs from each other. Salary is computed in a different manner. Business and profession is computed in a different manner. Therefore, the computation mechanism of one head does not match with another head. All of them are unique in itself. Therefore, correct classification is of absolute importance. Absolute importance. You need to do a proper classification of the income. So now we will be learning few things with respect to classification of income. Okay, shall we start? So I am asking you some simple questions. You would say as a student, what is so great in classifying an income? You would say as a student, what is so great, sir? It's very easy to classify an income. Rent will go in house property, profits will go in business and profession, interest will go in IFOS, right? So there is nothing great in this, sir. But it's a very litigative matter. Let me give you now some examples. Let me test your knowledge. That what do you know about classification of income? Okay. My first question to you all is, shall I start? My first question to you all. First question. Suppose I have a property which I have let out. Okay. And from that I am earning some rental income. Where will this income go under the income tax law? Please say fast. House property. Obviously, sir. You will put in house property. You will compute the rent. GAV minus municipal taxes. Then you will get NAV. You will take 30% standard deduction out of it, right? Right. And then you will deduct the tax out of it. Whatever the interest, if there is some interest on the house property, then you will reduce that also. Very simple. So nothing great as such, as we told. What is so great in classification of income? It's very straightforward issue. It's not that straightforward. Let me ask you second example. Suppose, 'I am Lodha builder' What is the work of this Lodha builder? Construct building and then do what? Sell it, right? Now what is he doing? Listen carefully. He has some unsold flats which is not getting sold. Okay. So he tried to let out them for some time and earn some rental income. Where will it go? Where will it go? Where will it go? Okay, Gopichan. Now three people over here have said three different heads. One has said PGBP, one has said house property, one has said other source. Now Kajal, you please say capital gains and भविष्य तू सैलरी बोल दे, ठीक है, ताकि अपना अभी our 5 heads of income is over. Now three people have said three different heads of income. Gopi, you have said PGBP, right? Julie, you have said HP, and Vinita, you have said IFOS, right? Now see, within the class itself, there is a disparity among students. When I asked the first question, nobody was saying different answers. Everybody said the same answer, house property. Are, do you agree or not? But when I asked the second one, everybody is giving different answers. Someone said HP, someone said IFOS, someone said PGBP, and the answer is HP. Why? Because there is a specific head for house property. Because there is a specific head for house property, it doesn't matter whether the house property rental is earned by a small investor like me or a big builder like Lodha. It doesn't matter. Lodha's activity is not to construct the building and let out. Lodha does not do the business of let out. Let out is his incidental activity. Do you agree to this? Let out is not his main activity. Therefore, the rental income from let out of property by a builder who is engaged in building it or constructing a building and then selling the building. His main objective is constructing and selling, not constructing and letting out. Therefore, the annual value of this property has to be classified under the house property only. Do not forget this. It will be part of house property. IFOS, there is no question only, Vinita. If the property is owned by you, it cannot be IFOS. IFOS comes only when you sublet the property. You have taken on let out from someone and now you are subletting, you are earning some income. That comes in IFOS. Because in subletting, you are not the owner of the property. Classification is a very big problem. Very, very, very big problem under the income tax law. Let me ask you another example. Or rather, I would give you an example. There was a Supreme Court judgment in 2015 in the case of Chennai Properties and Investment Limited. What has happened in this particular case? A very important case law for exam. A very important Supreme Court judgment for exams. A similar judgment also came in 2016 in the case of Rayala Corporation. Both of them says the same thing. I am telling you the facts of the case. Listen carefully. The assessee, as you can see, is a company. So assessee has made this company for the purpose of acquiring property in Chennai. Assessee's mode of operation was to acquire property in Chennai and then let out them. And let out is the assessee's substantial income. And the assessee's main object is let out. That is also written in Memorandum of Association. Now, I have given you sufficient information. There is an assessee whose main object is let out. How they let out? They acquire the property and then they let out. Let out is their main object, which is also written in the Memorandum of Association. Does Memorandum of Association speaks about the object clause of the company? So the object clause tells you what exactly the company's object is. What is the main business of the company? So that is the main business of the company, to acquire and let out. Third, Substantial income comes from let out. Substantial. Please tell me, where will this income of the assessee will go? What do you feel? What Supreme Court would have said? PGBP? What do you feel? PGBP or HP? Again, there is a dispute. That's the matter. That's the reason the matter has gone till the Supreme Court. Otherwise, it would have not gone if everybody would have given the same opinion. And the answer is now PGBP. The Supreme Court said that here the business of the assessee is to acquire and let out. Please try to understand the difference between the second one and this one. In the second one, the business of Lodha was not to construct and let out. Let out was incidental activity. Here, the business of the assessee is to let out. Let out is the main object and substantial income comes from let out. That's the reason this income will go under the head PGBP. Now, please try to understand. This is a classic example for malls, shopping malls. What is the mode of operation of shopping malls? The owner constructs the mall, right? And the owner does not sell the shops generally. What does the owner do? Owner let out the shops to the tenants, to the shop owners. Owner does not sell the shops. Now, if you try to understand, if the government put the entire income of that mall in house property, they will be dead in 2 days. Why? Because in house property, you do not get great deductions. You hardly get one deduction. That is 30% standard deduction. That's it. And one small deduction of municipal tax. And interest on loan if loan is taken. So, if loan is not there, then only two deductions. That is municipal taxes and 30% standard deduction. But if you think from businessman's perspective, there are so many different kind of expenditures that the owner of the mall has to incur on that mall. Yes or no? Which he will not get in house property. Which will only get in what? Income from business and profession. Therefore, try to understand the difference between the second one and this one. Lodha's main object was to construct and sell, not to let out. Here, the Chennai property's main object was to acquire and let out. There's a great difference in the object clause of both of them. And therefore, this income will be classified under the head PGBP as said by Supreme Court. There is so much dispute in classification. Wrong classification leads to what? Wrong computation. Wrong computation will lead to what? Wrong tax liability. Wrong tax liability would lead to what? Notice from the government of India to you. So correct classification is very important. Page number 1.5. Let us read this judgment. Very important judgment. So shall we remember the name also? If possible, try to remember or else leave it. Initially, you are in lot of energy. You will be trying to remember everything. After a few lectures, you will stop doing all these things. Because you will realize that there is so much to remember. Forget about the names. At least remember the content. Right? It's not that easy to remember. You will realize after a few lectures that how big the subject is. Now, let us read this. Chennai Properties Investment Limited 2015. Similar case law of Rayala Corporation and Raj Dadarkar Associates. At least remember one of them. That is the first one at least. In Chennai Properties and Investment Limited versus Commissioner of Income Tax 2015. The Supreme Court observed that holding of the properties and earning income by letting out these properties underline is the main object of the company. Further, in the return of income filed by the company and accepted by the AO, the entire income of the company comprised of income from letting out of such property. The Supreme Court accordingly held such income was taxable as what? Business income. Likewise, in Rayala Corporation 2016, the Supreme Court noted that the assessee engaged only in the business of renting its property and earning rental income therefrom, and accordingly held that such income was taxable as business income. However, in Raj Dadarkar and Associates versus Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax 2017, on account of lack of sufficient material to prove that substantial income of the assessee was from letting out of the property, the Supreme Court held that the rental income has to be assessed as what? Income from house property. So, in the third case, the assessee was not able to prove. What assessee was not able to prove? That the substantial income was from let out. So, the assessee was doing a lot of activities and one of the activity was let out. So, if you are doing a lot of activities and one of the activities let out, then your let out income will go where? It will go in what? Please tell. House property. Is it clear? Please tell. Just a second. So coming back to the discussion of classification of income, don't take classification lightly. Take it very seriously. Wrong classification, wrong computation. Let me ask you a few more questions now. Next question. Pay attention, please. Suppose I have idle funds. So I invested that idle fund in FD and I got some interest out of it. Where will it get classified? Fast. Income from other source. Okay. Now suppose Reliance Industries Limited has some idle funds. Obviously Reliance also has idle funds. So they are investing in FD. They are earning some interest. Where will it go? Please answer. Income from other source. Okay. Third, listen carefully. I am Mr. A. I want a contract from government. For that contract to get from the government, government is saying that make a bank guarantee in SBI. Give us a bank guarantee from SBI. Then only we will give you the contract. Otherwise, we will not give you the contract. So the SSE does what? Goes to SBI and make an FD of 100 crore rupees over there. And give a bank guarantee to the government that I will do the contract on time. Generally, if you take a contract from government or from any person, the other person will ask for the bank guarantee that please give us a bank guarantee that you will complete the entire project on time. Because in case you do not complete the entire project on time, then we will be nowhere. Government will say, Hamara nuksan, we will be under loss. Okay. Therefore, what SSE does? SSE goes to SBI, makes an FD of 100 crore and gives a bank guarantee in the name of Government of India. So that we can get a contract. This is just to gain the confidence of other person, nothing else. So now the SSE is earning some interest out of this FD. Where will this interest go? Please tell. Where will this interest go? Volume, Gopichand. Other source? Am I making the FD for the purpose of earning interest? No. Then why am I making the FD? What is the reason for primary reason for making this fixed deposit? For getting a business contract, right? Right? Then why it will go to IFOS? Let me tell you what is written in IFOS. IFOS section 56. What is written in this? Let me tell you. I'll show you in fact. This is your Income Tax Act. Just a second. I'll open this. Now just see, I don't know whether you are able to see this or not. I'll try to scroll it. Okay. This is, I'll try to zoom it. Can you see now? Income from other source. Okay. You can see point number 1D. Can you see this? Can you see this? What is written in this? Listen carefully. Can you read it for me? Income by way of interest on securities. Right? Comma. If income is not chargeable under the head PGBP, then it will come under IFOS. See properly. If income is not chargeable under PGBP, then it will come in IFOS. Is it written like this in the Act? This is the Income Tax Act. Right? It means what? The law itself is saying the interest can be charged in IFOS also and in PGBP also. What do you mean by this sentence? Interest will come under IFOS if not under PGBP. It means it can come in PGBP also. Please tell me. So coming to the discussion, pay attention please. If your interest income is closely related to your business, related to what? If it is closely related to your business, then that interest will not come under IFOS, that will come under PGBP. Is this interest income related to your business activity? Interest will come under IFOS only if you earn that interest with the intention of earning that interest. You have idle funds, you have invested that because you want some idle funds interest on that. Only then interest will be classified under IFOS. Otherwise, interest will go under the PGBP. When you read this sentence, interest will come under IFOS. Listen carefully. These are all interpretation issues. Ultimately, direct tax is about interpretation. It's a law. You need to interpret in a proper word. Every word is important over here. So what is written over here? Listen the words of the law carefully. Interest will be classified under this head if not under PGBP. What do you mean by this sentence? The preference has to be given to which head? PGBP. You should come over here if you do not go over there. It means you should go over there first. Right or not? Therefore, again listen carefully. It's a very debatable matter. What will come where? It's not that easy to identify that. If your interest is an independent investment activity, independent, you have invested in FD because you want interest, then it is IFOS. But if your interest is inextricably linked, inextricably means closely. If it is closely linked with the activity of business, you are earning interest not because you want to earn. You are earning this interest because you want a business contract. That is the reason you have made this FD. That is the reason you have made this bank guarantee. And eventually, if incidentally you are earning some interest out of it, your intention is not to earn interest, but to get a contract, and therefore such income will be classified under the head what? Under the head PGBP and not under the head IFOS. It will be under the head PGBP. Is it clear? All of them are written in the book. Don't worry about it. So we have resolved few things. First, the debate between HP and PGBP, right? The debate between IFOS and PGBP, right? Right. Now let me go ahead with few more examples. You will make blunder because you are not aware of the things. It's okay. Next example. I have idle funds. Okay. Shall I go ahead? So I invested in the shares of certain companies. From there I got dividends. Where will this dividend go? काजल तेरी आवाज नहीं आती है बेटा, कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है तेरे माइक में. तेरे पास ईयरफोन है तो ईयरफोन निकाल के बात कर एक बार, वहां से निकाल, कार्टून सिस्टम में से निकाल तेरे. हाँ अब आवाज आ रही है. तेरे ईयरफोन के माइक में प्रॉब्लम. अभी टेक्निकल काम भी मैं करूँ क्या तेरे लिए? तेरा ईयरफोन का माइक खराब है. ठीक है, ठीक है, कोई बात. तो ये आइडल फंड्स कहां जाएगा? शेयर्स खरीद लिया आपने, यू हैव बॉट, आई हैव बॉट शेयर्स. Okay, you have got some dividend, I have got some dividend. Where it will go? It will go to IFOS. Okay. Second, shall I go ahead? Ready? Ready for the question? Now listen, the next question. There is one mutual fund company, okay, who has invested in some shares. It is their day-to-day work, right? It is their day-to-day activity, right? To invest in shares, and they have earned some dividends out of it. Where will it go? I will not blame you whatever answer you give. You are not aware of the provisions. You tell. Where will it go? PGBP? Now it's very obvious that all of you will say PGBP, but the answer is IFOS. Now you will say, what is going on, sir? Whatever we say, you say the opposite of that. I am not saying opposite of that. Sir, why you have not said IFOS here then? In third case, and here you are saying IFOS. I'll tell you the example. I'll tell you the reason. Come to this section again, IFOS. Can you see this? For interest, what is written in point number 4? 1D. What is written? Interest will come under IFOS if not under PGBP. It means it can go in PGBP also and IFOS also, right? But for dividend, what is written? See, point number 1. Dividends, semicolon, next point. That's it. Now, what do I mean by this? It is not written like this that dividends will be coming under IFOS if not under PGBP. No! Dividends, semicolon, next point. Go to next point. What do you interpret out of this? What do you in English, madam, English. Please tell others. What do you interpret out of this? The dividends incomes will always be classified under IFOS. Whether it is earned by a small investor like you and me, or whether it is earned by a giant like mutual fund companies, it doesn't matter. It will always come under IFOS. It will not come under business and profession. Now let me tell you the logic behind this. That for interest, they have made a confusion, right? Here or there or here. For dividends, there is no confusion. The logic is very simple. Interest is very wider as compared to dividends. Very wider. Let me ask you an example. For banks, which is the business biggest income? Interest only, right? Interest is the major income for bank. Now the government cannot say that interest will be classified always under IFOS. All banks will die. Right or not? Interest can be considered as a main business income. Do you agree? But dividends are never main business income. Even for mutual fund companies, dividends are never main business income. An equity oriented mutual fund does not earn from dividend. Whatever mutual fund company earns is from buying and selling of the shares. Do you agree to this? You need to have little bit idea of mutual funds. A mutual fund will never earn substantial income from holding the assets and getting dividends. That is always their incidental income. A mutual fund company will always earn maximum income from buying and selling of the shares at appropriate timing, so that they can get a proper gain on that and then they can transfer that gain to investors. Are you clear? Therefore, dividend income, whether accrued by an investor like me or a trader like mutual fund companies, will always be classified under IFOS. Always. The law also says in a very simple manner, dividend full stop, that's it. But for interest, the law says that interest will be classified under IFOS if not under PGBP, so there is a debate. But for dividends, without any second thought, always take the dividend income under which head? Under IFOS, and close the matter. Do not have a second thought also. So it's not that easy to classify an income. It's not that easy. It's a very, very, very tricky issue. It's a very debatable matter. At the time of assessment of income by the income tax department, they will directly change your heads of income only because you have done a wrong classification. And if you have done a wrong classification, a very great difference in your computation can come as compared to what the department thinks. And there can be huge amount of tax liability which you have to bear. Your income tax portal doesn't know which head of income it is. Wherever you will put, it will take, right or not? Your income tax portal will not help you to classify the income. That you have to classify with your judgment and skill and knowledge and experience. Okay. So let me ask you. So dividend, always IFOS, always, whether it is earned by a small investor like me or a big trader like mutual fund companies, doesn't matter. Always IFOS. Next question. Where will profits and gains be classified? PGBP competition? Please tell, beta. Always PGBP. It can go in IFRS also. You can take in IFRS sometimes. Always PGBP. Now, so I will ask you a question, Gopi, because you have answered first. Shall I? What if I sell my house today and if I earn some profits and gains on that? Then why you said profits and gains always PGBP? Then again there is a debate, right? If it is from a stock in trade, then you can say it is from PGBP. Right or not? You can also earn profits by selling your jewelry. Where will it go? The jewelry kept at your home with your mom or with your dad is not a stock in trade, right? It's a capital asset. Where will it go? It has to go in capital gains. So again, profits has to be seen very properly. Whether you are whether you are earning that profit from transfer of which asset. If you are earning that profit from transfer of a stock, then it can go to what? PGBP. If you are earning that profit from transfer of a capital asset, then it will go to what? Capital gains. So there are different kinds of chargeability. There are different kinds of charging sections under income tax law. One is called as specific charging sections. One is called as comparable charging sections. Let me give you an example. Specific charging section. Dividends will always come under what? A specific head. Right? You do not have to compare with any other head. Rental will always come under what? House property. Yes, in one case it is come under PGBP, which I have told you that Supreme Court case, right? If the main object of the company is to let out, then it can go under PGBP. Third, can I say gifts received from friends, etc. will always be come under IFOS? Lottery winning will always come under what? IFOS. Lottery will always be under IFOS. All of them are written in the book, don't write. Now, there are few incomes which are comparable, where there will be debate. Like interest. Interest, either PGBP or IFOS. That you have to see on case-to-case basis. Case-to-case basis, it can change. Next, profits. Profits, PGBP or what? Capital gains. Again, you have to see on a case-to-case basis. If it is from sale of SIT, then PGBP. It is from sale of capital asset, then capital gains. Very debatable matter. Very debatable. Now, all of them are written in the book. Let us read that particular thing now. Come to classification of income on page number 1.5 in your textbook. Okay. Let's read this once. Very important aspect it is. Classifying the income under the correct head is of utmost importance, because wrong classification would amount to wrong computation and would lead to further tax liabilities. Following incomes will be charged under their respective heads as they have a specific charge under the Act. Lottery, winnings, crossword, puzzles, etc. always under IFOS. Gift, IFOS. Dividend, whether accrued or to investor or dealer, IFOS, right? Rental income, house property. But for rental, there is a debate. It can also go in PGBP, as you can see in this case law, right? Then there are certain incomes which are comparatively charged, whether it is charged in PGBP or IFOS, depends. Like interest income, right? Like profits, right? You can read from here. I am talking about these 2 points. This case law we have already read. So these are the 3 aspects which one has to see. First, the thing which I started today, early morning. First thing which an assessee has to see, whether what is earning is income or not. Second thing, whether that income comes within the scope of India or not. And once that comes within the scope of India, do a classification. Proper classification under a proper head. And then only you can go for what? A proper computation. Wrong classification would lead to wrong computation. Okay, is it clear to everyone? You have not become an expert of classification of income. Let me tell you very clearly. You will become an expert only when you are done with all 5 heads of income. Until and unless you do all 5 heads of income, you will not be able to understand what exactly classification means. We are just looking at the overview of the discussion. Nothing great as such. Now, I have started with charging section yesterday, if you remember. Section 4. Total income of a person, right? It started like this, right? So under income tax law, tax is charged on a person. On whom tax is charged? So the question will arise, what is person? And who are the persons on whom income tax will be charged? So the definition of person is here. Let's go through it once. Who all will come in person? The first person is individual, obviously. Individual will be liable to tax. In the entire income tax law, wherever the word person will come, you have to follow this definition. Okay? Is it clear? Next, HUF is a person. Next, company is a person. Firm is a person. When I say firm, listen carefully. For the purpose of income tax law, firm includes LLP. When I say firm, firm will include firm and partnership firm and LLP both. Both of them are firm in the eyes of income tax law. Okay? Then AOP BOI is a person. Then local authority like municipality, Gram Panchayat, Zilla Parishad, etc. They are also person. They are local authorities. And last but not least, artificial jurisdictional person. That this is the general point. What will included in this? What lot of things will come in this, like a cooperative society can come in this, like a trust can come in this, political parties can come in this. Okay, it's a general point. Lot of other kind of persons who can come and get classified under this clause. Okay, now pay attention on the board, please. All of you, please pay attention. Whether my income is PGBP or IFOS or HP or CG or salary, how will I come to know? How will I come to know? You will say, if you will not come to know, then who will come to know? The assessee has to know this. But how the assessee will classify? Should it be written somewhere that if you do this activity, then it is PGBP? That if you do this activity, then it is house property? That if you are engaged in these activities, then it is capital gain? Should it be written somewhere? Please tell. Should it be written somewhere? So let me tell you this now. Pay attention. The first section of every head, right? The first section of every head, 15, 22, 28, 45 and 56, talks about when you will come under that head. So if you want to see whether your income is under salary or PGBP, read section 15, read section 28. If you want to see whether your income comes under IFOS or not, read section 56. You might have done it in IPCC also, CA Inter. When your income gets classified in salary, please tell me, what are the conditions? To get your income classified under salary, what is the condition? There has to be an employer and employee relationship. There has to be one employer and employee relationship, and which is written in section 15, if you remember. Right? When your income will be classified under the head house property? When? When three conditions are fulfilled. Let me tell you. First, the assessee should be the owner of the house property. Second, the house property should be a building or land which is upper tenant to the building, right? And that building and land should not be used for the purpose of business and profession. If these three conditions are fulfilled, you can classify your income under the head house property. Similarly, when your income will be classified under the head capital gains, your income will be classified under the head capital gains when you transfer a capital asset. When you transfer a capital asset, your income will be classified under the head capital gains. Okay. So, whether your income will become under PGBP or capital gains or IFOS or HP or CG, you need to read the first section of every head. The first section of every head is the charging section of that head. So, before starting with the first topic, or the moment we start with the first topic, that is our business and profession, the most important head of income. This is the first topic now we are starting now. The first thing which we need to see in this topic is when we will come under business and profession. What are the activities subject to which I can say that my income will be covered under what? Business and profession. So for that, we all need to read which section? Section 28. So pay absolute attention on section 28 now. So from here, we are starting with our first head of income. That is PGBP. Section 28 will tell you when your income will be coming under what? PGBP. This is the charging section of PGBP. This is the most important topic out of your entire syllabus. This is the most important topic of your entire syllabus. Charging section. When will I come under PGBP, sir? There are two types of charging section in this chapter. Pay attention on the board. One is general charge, which is given in 28 clause 1. And then there are certain special charge, which is given in 28 different clauses. We are not interested in this now. Today we are only interested in this general clause. Generally, when my income will be classified under PGBP. Not specially. There are some special cases in which your income will always be under PGBP. Forget about those special cases for today at least. At least for few lectures we are not going to talk about them. Today we are only interested in the general charge of the section. Only general charge. That's it. Sir, what is written in section 28.1? So I'll show you. Come to the next page. You can see over here. There are a lot of charging sections over here. Around 12 charging sections over here. I am not interested in all of them. I am only interested in the first one now, today. What is written over there? If you fulfill this 1.5 line, there is only 1.5 line over here. If you fulfill this, your income will be classified under business and profession. There is hardly anything to fulfill, right? There is only 1.5 line. That's it. You can see over there. Profits and gains of any business or profession which was carried on by the assessee at any time during the previous year. That's it. You fulfill this 1.5 line, your income will be classified under the PGBP. But it's not that easy to classify this. It's not that easy to interpret this. You might be finding that it's just 1.5 line, but it's not 1.5 line. There are a lot of things inside this. So I'm just writing this. Section 28.1. Pay attention on the board. What is written over there? I'm just replicating that on my board. Profits and gains from business or profession carried on by the assessee at any time during the previous year. That's it. Only this much is there in the law. It's not that easy. Please pay attention. There are a lot of things inside this. You are finding this as a very general sentence, but it is not general. There are a lot of things inside this. We need to understand what do you mean by the term business. Sir, what is business? We need to understand business. Sir, what is profession? We need to understand the term profession. Sir, what is profits and gains? We need to understand what do you mean by the term profits and gains, what is included in that, what is not included in that. We need to understand the phrase carried on by the assessee. And we need to understand the phrase at any time during the previous year. We need to understand these one by one. It is not a general sentence of 1.5 line. Please be aware of that first of all. It's not a general sentence of 1.5 line. You need to be understanding each and every term properly over here. First, what is business? Then what is profession? Then what is profits and gains? What do you mean by the phrase carried on by assessee? Am I supposed to do everything in this world? If it is said that the assessee should carry on the business, what does it mean? I only should do everything. Last phrase, at any time during the previous year. What do I mean by that? So let us start with the first one. What is business? The term business is defined under income tax law in section 2 clause 13. Thank you. It is defined. But again, it is defined in a very vague manner, in an inclusive manner. The government does not give us the meaning of business. The government tells us what does business includes. That's it. Again, will there be debates now? Please answer. Will there be debates? Because again, the definition is not exhaustive. It is just given in an inclusive form. Will there be debates? What is business? What is not business? It's a very debatable issue. Therefore, what is business as per the income tax law? Let me tell you. As per the income tax law, as per section 2, clause 13, business includes trade. Trade is business. Comma. Commerce. Commerce is business. Comma. Manufacture. Manufacture is business. And all of them should be in the form of an adventure. It means whatever you do, there has to be an adventure in that. Adventure means there has to be. Please tell. When there is adventure in life, there is what? There is a risk involved. There has to be a risk involved in that. Adventure is a synonymous to risk. Adventure means risk. There has to be risk in that. So whatever you do has to be risk. Trade, commerce, manufacture, all of them should be in the nature of adventure. Sir, what do you mean by trade? Trade means buying and selling. Buying and selling is trade. Sir, what do you mean by the term commerce? Commerce means same buying and selling when it is done at a very large scale. Then it is called as commerce. When you do buying and selling at a very large scale, it can be called as commerce. And third one, what is manufacture? Manufacture is some raw material, you are converting that into a new product with the help of machine, with the help of labor. But all of them should be in the form of what? Adventure. So this definition is half-heartedly made, not completely made. There are only 2-3 words which the law is using and saying the definition is over. The law is only saying business includes trade, commerce, manufacture in the nature of adventure. That's it, over. In reality, what is business, what is not, has to be seen on a facts and circumstances. Based on facts and circumstances, your definition of business has to be analyzed. There cannot be one single yardstick to measure what is business, what is not. There cannot be one thumb rule to identify what is business and what is not a business. Not possible. You have to look into the facts and circumstances of every case. So the definition given by the government of India is hopeless. It doesn't give you absolute clarity. But there are thousands of Supreme Court and High Court judgment which tells us the definition of business in a more elaborative manner, in a more detailed manner. One amongst them is said by Supreme Court in the case of Barendra Prasad Ray. Let me tell you the Supreme Court judgment in this case. The Supreme Court says in the case of Barendra Prasad Ray that business implies much better definition as compared to what income tax law has given. Business implies a systematic and organized activity of applying labor and skill with the dominant intention of earning profits. So what does the court say? Business implies a systematic and organized activity. There has to be some system. There has to be some organized activity of applying labor, that is workers, of applying skill, that is your mind. Why are you doing all these things? With the dominant intention of earning what? Of earning money, of earning profits. Now, if you see the definition of Government of India, profit element is not mentioned only in the definition. Government of India gives a definition where it is only written business includes what? Trade, commerce, manufacture in the nature of adventure. That's it. Profit element is not mentioned in that. Therefore, you have to look into the facts and circumstances of every case. Come to your color book, all of you, please. Now, we are doing the analysis of this particular definition. All of you, please. We are doing analysis of section 28 now. As per section 28(1), profits and gains from business and profession which was carried on by the assessee at any time during the previous year is charged under the head PGBP. This is general chargeability under the head business and profession. Further, there are certain special charging sections as well which do not fulfill the conditions of general chargeability to widen the scope of taxability. Whether a particular income will come under the head BNP will depend upon the facts and circumstances of each case. There is no thumb rule for it. The term business under 213 is defined in an inclusive manner to include trade, commerce, manufacture or any adventure in the nature of trade, commerce or manufacture. However, this definition does not give any substantial test to identify whether an activity amounts to business or not. It does not give any substantial test. It's a very incomplete definition. Therefore, we need to rely on the judgments given by the court to understand the term business. Therefore, Supreme Court in the case of Barendra Prasad Ray has held that business implies a systematic and organized activity by applying labor and skill with a dominant intent to earn what? Profits therefrom. Therefore, earning of profit should be one of the what? Dominant purpose from the activity carried on by the assessee to constitute it as a business. So this is the definition given by the law. But the Supreme Court has given a slightly better meaning of what business can mean. Now, I would like to ask you some questions. Please try to answer. Under which, again, classification questions. Please answer under which head this income will be classified. One assessee who is having a huge land. Huge land. Now he wants to sell that. He wants money. So he wants to sell that. Now, because the land is so huge, nobody is buying it. Who will buy such a big land, yaar? Nobody is buying it. Because the land is huge, nobody is ready to buy. So what the assessee has done? Assessee has made small plots of it. Small plots. And then he started selling the plots. Okay. Now people will think about buying it. If you will tell somebody, I have a 3-kilometer land, please buy. Nobody will buy. Nobody will have so much money. If you say I have a 200 square feet land, 300 square feet land, 500 square feet land, please buy. So somebody will think about buying it. So assessee has huge land. Assessee wants to sell that. Nobody is ready to buy. So he did a plotting of that. Small plots. 100, 200 plots he made, and then he started selling the plots individually. Okay. He has earned some profits out of it by selling the land. Where will it go? Please tell. Assessee is saying capital gains. Department is saying PGBP. Now, why assessee is saying capital gains? Because in capital gains, tax rates are lower. Do you agree? In capital gains, you get indexation. Do you agree? In PGBP, tax rates are higher, 30% taxes are there. No indexation in PGBP. That's the reason department is pulling the assessee under PGBP. And the assessee is pulling itself under what? Capital gains. So what do you feel? Where will it go? PGBP or capital gains? Definitely capital gains. The dominant intent over here is not to do business. The dominant intent of the assessee over here is to earn what? Is to earn some profits and leave the market as soon as possible because he doesn't want the land anymore. Here the dominant intent of the assessee is not to do a kind of systematic and organized activity and earn profits out of it. It will go under the head capital gains, and assessee won the case. Very old case. Do not remember the name also. Now, there is another assessee who has purchased a land. After purchasing a land, the assessee has constructed colony on that. Along with the colony, he has constructed residential houses over there. That is residential building. He has constructed hospital. He has constructed malls, theaters. He has constructed schools, parks, etc. And then he started selling the things. Where will it go? Please tell. PGBP. Now this is a systematic and organized activity done by the assessee by applying labor and skill with a dominant intention of earning profits. Yes or no? This is quite different as compared to this assessee who was very much willing to sell the plot of land and just exit the market. There is a great difference between this example and this example. This will definitely go under PGBP. Definitely it will go under PGBP. Now there is another assessee. Listen carefully this particular point. There was one factory in which some production work was going on. Now suddenly on one fine day, the workers went on strike. They had certain demands and the company was not fulfilling the demands, so they went on strike. And there is a lockup in the factory. Factory is locked up for some time. Now the owner is thinking that my plant and machineries are getting rusted over there, right? My furnitures are getting destroyed, being idle, right? So what he thought, let us temporarily give all of them on let out. Let's let out the plant and machinery for some time at least. At least I'll earn something out of it. If the workers are on strike, I'm not able to do my business, so I will earn something at least by letting out. So he let out the plant and machinery, he let out the furniture to someone for some time, on a temporary basis. And obviously he earned some income. Where will it go? Please tell. Where will it go? No, no, he has let out, beta. He has not sold. Bhavisha, if a plant and machinery would have sold by him, then it would have gone to capital gains. He has not sold. He has let out. Where will it go? Please answer. It's a very important issue. Academically important issue. Exam. Vinita? Land not let out. Only plant and machinery and furniture. PGBP? Bhavisha? Kajal? And it will go to PGBP. Even the court has said that it will go to PGBP. So generally where it will go either in PGBP or IFOS. You might have done it in CA Inter, that if you let out some facilities to someone, it goes to IFOS. Do you remember that? If you let out a facility like furniture, plant, machinery, then it goes on generally under IFOS. But in this case, it will go under PGBP. The reason being what the court has said, that it is the business intelligence of that particular taxpayer, that if he is not able to earn something out of its business, he has applied his business mind that let us at least let out for some time this plant and machineries, so that at least I can get some money for the wear and tear which is happening to the machinery. Keeping the machinery idle is not good for the business, because the machinery get rusted out of it. It has to be used on a regular basis. So that is his business decision, so that the machinery will also get used. I will also earn some income out of it, so that my machineries are not getting wasted, are not getting rusted. And whatever income I will earn, I will use that for the repairs and maintenance of the machinery itself later on. It will go under PGBP. So it's a very dynamic issue. What will come under PGBP? What will come under IFOS? What will come under CG? You all have to look into the facts and circumstances of every case. And ultimately, most of the big cases goes to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will be under the observation of the case, and ultimately Supreme Court will decide the matter will go under which head of income. So it's not that easy for us to sit in the closed room and decide what comes under PGBP and what comes under IFOS and what comes under CG. Academically, our discussion is restricted to a particular level. We cannot have a complete discussion on this issue, because the complete discussion will go on and on and on and on for months and months. Assessee will put some facts, department will put some facts, assessee will put some more facts, department will come for another facts. All the facts will be put in front of the court, and then the court will decide whether it is a PGBP or IFOS, PGBP or CG, PGBP or HP. The way it was decided by Supreme Court in the case of Chennai Properties and Investment Limited, that if you let out the property and earn income out of it, then it will go under what? PGBP. If your substantial income is let out, if your main object is let out, then it is PGBP. The way it is income for what? Malls and etc. Okay. So coming to this discussion, all these things are there in your books also. As you can see over here, I'll show you which issue is there where. There are 3 to 4 columns which I have made. The first one is serial number, second is particular, third is which head it will come, and fourth one is remark. First one, the first example which I have just told you, I am selling huge land. If you are selling huge land, then it is capital gains, right? Right. Now, if I construct a colony and then I sell, then it is PGBP, right? Please tell. Next, if I earn some interest income by giving a bank guarantee, because you want a tender from government, then it is PGBP, right? And if it is in blue, understand that this is the name of the case law. Okay? Blue things signify name of the case law. Okay, and Delhi signifies Delhi High Court, and SC signifies Supreme Court. There are lots of high court in this country, right? How many high courts are there in this country? How 29? Because there are 29 states. Gopi, I knew that somebody would say this. 29, sir. Why? Because there are 29 states, there has to be 29. Then what about union territories? Who will take care of union territories? They will directly go to Supreme Court. Say, there are 25 high courts in this country. How many? 25, Gopi. There is no high court in every state. There are some of the states where there is no high court. Like example, our neighboring state, Goa. Goa, there is no high court. You will never find something called as Goa High Court has said this. Never ever find. Because there is no Goa High Court. Then who takes care of the Goa matters? Mumbai High Court. Bombay High Court takes care of the matter of Goa, matter of Maharashtra, matter of Daman, matter of Diu, matter of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. All these matters are settled by which High Court? All this come under one jurisdiction, that is Bombay High Court. This is just for your knowledge. Nobody is going to ask you in exams. Similarly, Delhi High Court is also a very big High Court. In that also there are 3-4 states which come. So there are 3-4 high courts in which there are multiple jurisdictions which are covered. The government does not feel logical and economical to make a separate high court for Goa. It's a very small state, right? Doesn't make sense to make a separate high court for Goa. So Goa people have to come to Mumbai all the time if they want to fight a case. Okay. Is it clear? So now this one is the one which I have just asked you, that there is a lockout in the factory. Okay. And you temporarily let out. If you temporarily let out, this is your business expediency. Business expediency means business intelligence. Try to use these words in exam if possible. Try to make your answer slightly technical. Similarly, if you see over here it is written inextricably, a slightly technical word. If you want to write the meaning of this, you can write inextricably means closely. Closely. If your investment activity is closely related to business, is inextricably related to business, then it will be income from PGBP. But if your interest is not related to business, it is an independent investment activity, then it is IFOS. Okay. And there is one more case law over here. Pay attention over here. Letting out of go down, very important one. Mark this. You are letting out go down and provision of warehousing services. You are giving lot of warehousing services. Whether it will be called as income from house property or PGBP. Listen carefully. You are coming to my warehouse to store something. Okay. And you are paying me rentals. Okay. So whatever rental you are paying, actually it should go to house property. Right? Right or not? But along with warehousing, I am giving you lot of services also. Like you can see over here. I am giving you services of pest control, rodent control, fumigation services to prevent the goods stored from what? Being affected. Can you see this? I am not just providing you a land or building. I am providing you a lot of services. So the court held in this case that then it will be PGBP. Can you see this? Madras High Court has held it will be PGBP. Because the activity of assessee is not restricted to only let out. There are a lot of other services given by the assessee which are generally given by a businessman. Pest control is a business, right? Right or not? Urban company people come to our house to do pest control, right? It's a business. Fumigation services, rodent control, so that the goods of the assessee are not affected. So the tenant is coming to me and saying that I am storing your goods. So I asked him, is it my responsibility to take care of the pest control? He said, yes, you will take care of the pest control. Is it my responsibility to look at the goods? Yes, you will look at the goods. So I am doing lot of activities from him. I am not only storing goods for him. I am doing lot of other activities. Therefore, it will go under the head PGBP. Is it clear? So again, it is debatable. Very debatable issue. What will come under PGBP? What will not come under PGBP? Okay. And then there is this case law which we have just read from textbook also. Right? Of Chennai properties. So you see what you read in textbook for around 12 to 15 lines. How I have wrapped up that in 3 lines, 2.5 lines. Just see. That much is sufficient to revise on the day of exam. You do not have time to read all those bhashan on the day of exam. You will not get time. Main and the important words are already highlighted in red. Main object, acquired and let out property, substantial income, taxable under PGBP. That's it. It's over. That's what it was written in those 12 to 15 lines also. It was the same thing which was written over there. There was no difference in those lines and these lines. Okay. So coming to the charging section once again, coming over here. So what is business? Income tax law does not exhaustively define business. It gives you illustrative list. Business includes trade, commerce, manufacturing, the nature of adventure. Then the Supreme Court says that business implies a systematic and organized activity, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then we have seen some issues, whether it is a capital gains or PGBP or IFOS or HP, right? Coming to the next definition. What is profession? Now it is the most beautiful definition that is given by the government. The most shortest and the cutest definition ever in this world. You can see over here. What is profession? See, it is defined in section 236. See, definition starts and ends. This is not defined by me. It is defined by the government. If you want, you can see over here. I'll show you. Profession includes vocation. That's it. Now you can see over here, section 2, clause 36. Can you see this? This beautiful definition. Profession. First of all, they have defined in an inclusive manner, not exhaustive. Secondly, they have only defined in one word. Right or not? It would have been better that they would have not defined only. We would have understood in our own terms. Now, if I say student, profession includes vocation. Student will ask me what is vocation? Definitely. Now, what is vocation? Vocation means any occupation requiring some skill. An occupation requiring some skill is called as vocation. Sir, is there a requirement of any degree? There is no requirement of any degree. There has to be only skill, skill and skill. That's it. The entire activity is done because of your skill. If your skill is removed, the activity is closed. Degree is required, certificate is required, no degree is required, no certificate is required. Example, a lawyer has a degree as well as skill. Both is there. He is a professional. A chartered accountant, a doctor has a degree as well as skill. They are professionals. But Virat Kohli doesn't have any degree. Amitabh Bachchan doesn't have any degree, right? Baba Ramdev doesn't have any degree. But are they skilled enough in their respective field? Yes or no? Therefore, they are skilled enough in their respective field. That much is sufficient to call anything as what? As profession. Is it clear to everyone? So, profession includes vocation, and vocation means any kind of skill. Any occupation which requires skill is known as vocation. And therefore, that is ultimately called as profession. Now, it doesn't matter only in this head of income. Whether you are doing business or profession, it doesn't matter. Most of the computation mechanism of this chapter are same only. Whether you are doing business or whether you are doing profession, it doesn't matter. Computation mechanism is same only for both of them. At the end, they will diversify from each other. Let me tell you, where it comes to when a businessman will do an audit and when a professional will do an audit, at that time the threshold changes. Do you remember that? When a businessman will do a tax audit under income tax law? That much you should know at least. You are doing tax audit since last 2 years. When a businessman will do tax audit under the income tax law? What is the turnover limit? Even a CA interest student would know that. What is the turnover limit? 1 crore. And what is the turnover limit for a professional? It is 50 lakhs. That is where the business and the profession provisions changes. Till that time, most of the things are same only. It doesn't matter what is business. It doesn't matter what is profession. Forget about it. Leave it. It doesn't matter to us. Okay. Coming to the third part of the definition. What is the third part of definition? What are profits and gains? What will it include? What will it not include? Let us analyze now profits and gains. Just give me a second. Now let's talk about what is profits and gains. Now there are some characteristics, some features of profits and gains which we need to understand. Profits and gains are supposed to be, listen carefully, real profits. Which profits? Profits and gains are supposed to be real profits. What do I mean by real profits? Real profit means profits and gains as per section 28. If you are talking about section 28 clause 1, we are talking about that section only, right? If you want to get your profits charged under this section, under the head PGBP, then your profits and gains are supposed to be real profits. It should not be anticipated. It should not be deemed. It should not be fictional. It should not be all these things. It should be actual profits, real profits. It means your sales consideration has to be, actual. It cannot be notional. It cannot be fictional. It cannot be anticipated. It cannot be deemed. If you want to charge your profits under 28.1, it has to be real one. Now, I have a question to all of you. Let us have a great discussion on this. Do you know that there are some sections under income tax law which says that your profits are deemed to be 8% of the turnover? Right? Are there some sections under income tax law like this? Can you name the number? 44AD, very famous section in your office, right? That if your turnover is up to 2 crore rupees, then your profits are just 8% of the turnover. Do you agree? In some cases, it is even 6% of the turnover. Do you agree? So please tell me, when I say my profits are 8% of the turnover, it means the profits are actual or anticipated? It is actual or deemed? Then how the hell some section can say like this? When section 28.1 says that the profits has to be what kind of profit? Real profit. Then how the government can make such provisions under the income tax law where it says your profits can be 8% of the turnover? The reason is those sections like 4480 you said na, those are notwithstanding sections. What kind of sections? Notwithstanding means those are overriding clauses. Let me show you those provisions over here. You may not search in your book. You can see on the board itself, that's sufficient for you. You can see this presumptive income. Can you see this, beta? 4480. Can you see? See the first line of this section. What does it say? Notwithstanding anything contrary to the contained in 28 to 43. Can I say this section overrides section 28? Please tell me. There are various kinds of overriding section under income tax law. I'll try to explain you that today first. Types of overriding clauses. There are 3 types of overriding clauses under the income tax law. This is for your knowledge purpose and also to make you understand the subject in a better manner. First type, which override few sections. Okay? It means this section now will override few sections of the income tax law. The way you can see over here. Can I say 4480 overrides around 15 sections of income tax law? It does not override the entire income tax law. It only overrides 15 sections from 28 to 43. It means from 28 to 43 it will not operate now. Right? Now there is some second category of overriding clauses which override entire law. Entire law means what? Entire income tax act. Let me show you those kind of sections in your book itself. This is a very famous section again. You might have heard about this lot of time in your life. 43B, right? Certain deductions are allowed only on payment basis, not on accrual basis. And there are so many reporting clauses on this in the tax audit report. Right? Read the first 2 lines. What is written over there? What is written? What is it overriding? The entire income tax law is getting overridden. The entire income tax law, unlike the previous section where only few series of sections were getting overridden. Okay. The third type of overriding clause, it will override other laws. What do I mean by this? Other laws. It means a section of income tax has that much power that it can override other laws also. Not only income tax act sections, but other laws also. Let me show you the example of that. You might have not heard about this section ever. You might have seen this section for the first time. You can read the first line of this section. What is written? Notwithstanding anything contained in what? Any other law. It means this section overrides other laws also. Please answer. Therefore, these are the three types of notwithstanding clause. So, by default, the profits are supposed to be real, right? But if there is some section which is overriding this concept, then this can be overridden. Like 44AD, like 44ADA for professionals where 50% profits can be shown, right? For professionals, they have an option of 50% profits. So, coming to the discussion, which I was doing. In the meanwhile, I will give you some kind of gyan like this in between, which is relevant, which is a law ka gyan, not a general gyan. This is knowledge relevant for law. So, the profits are supposed to be real profits and they are supposed to be actual profits. They should not be notional, should not be fictional, should not be anticipated, should not be deemed. Yes, if the government wants to charge a deemed profit, then they have to put what? An overriding clause in that. And then they can charge a deemed profit also. Is it clear? Second point, profit has to be revenue in nature. Revenue in nature means something which is recurring in nature, regular in nature, which is regularly received by the assessee. Those profits are called as revenue profits, recurring profits. Capital profits are not charged under PGBP. For capital profits, we have made a separate section. We have made a separate head, that is capital gains, which will be charged under the head capital gains. So if I sell my house, that's not a revenue profit. I do not sell my house on a regular basis. I sell my house once in a while. I sell my jewelries once in a while, not on a regular basis. So that will be covered in capital gains. So if I sell some goods, I manufacture a good, I purchase a good and then I sell on a regular basis, those profits will be covered under what? Under the head PGBP. Clear? Clear? Third, profits may arise in cash or in kind. It doesn't matter. Your consideration can be in kind also. You have paid the fees to me in cash. That is my profit. You can pay the fees to me in kind also. That will also be my profit. That will also be subject to tax. Whether you accept the money in cash or in kind, both of them will be subject to tax. And the fourth one, which Gopi Chand has raised yesterday, I remember your doubt. The profits may arise from legal or illegal business. If you are earning money from legal business, pay tax. If you are earning money from illegal business, then also pay tax. You have to pay taxes in both the cases. Legal, illegal, we are not differentiating anything between the two. A legal business is subject to tax. Even an illegal business is subject to income tax. Now, if you have anything to ask, you can ask me over here. There might be some doubts which can come to your mind, if it is coming. Or else I will raise the doubts. If a doubt is not coming to your mind, I will raise it. Because it might come later, if not today. Please say. You have anything to ask? What kind of illegal business I can tax? Please tell. Please tell. What kind of illegal business I can tax? Lottery is not illegal, Gopi Chand. It is legal. Is lottery illegal? If it would have been illegal, how the lottery wala will sell on the roads? What, beta? Gambling is illegal, yes. So if there is somebody who is doing gambling, I can take tax from them also. So does that mean that the government is encouraging you to do gambling? Think on it. Just a second. Don't go anywhere. Is the government encouraging you that do gambling? Because we want tax, you can do gambling. Is it the case? Please tell. Let me tell you very clearly with lot of responsibility that I am not encouraging, nor the government is encouraging you to do illegal business so that they can get tax. Let me tell you, government is not saying sell drugs because we want tax. Government is not saying do illegal business. Government is not saying sell drugs or sell alcohol in a state where it is not allowed. For example, if you know that in Gujarat, sale of alcohol is prohibited, right? Even in Bihar, it is prohibited, right? In both the states, sale of alcohol is not allowed. It is not allowed. In Maharashtra, it is allowed. In Goa, it has to be allowed. Otherwise, nobody will go to Goa. Okay. Goa will be closed if you ban alcohol in the state of Goa. I'm not saying do illegal business, but I'm saying if you are caught doing an illegal business, if you are caught doing an illegal business, then you will not be left. You will not be left. You will also be charged to tax. I'm not encouraging, neither the government is encouraging. Do an illegal business. That is what this particular sentence means. That the business can be legal or business can be what? Illegal both. It can be either of the two. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now let us move on to the next part of this particular charging section. This is the charging section. What we have done so far is what is business we have done, what is profession we have done, and what are the profits and gains. What are the features of profits and gains we have done? Profits and gains are supposed to be real in nature, are supposed to be revenue in nature, are supposed to be in cash or in kind, or supposed to be in what? Legal or illegal. It doesn't matter. Now let us talk about the next part. Few small things which are pending. The business or profession is supposed to be carried on by the assessee. What do I mean by this? If I say business and profession is supposed to be carried on by the assessee, do I mean that everything has to be done by the assessee itself? Everything in the business has to be done by the assessee. Assessee will get up in the morning, assessee will go to the shop, assessee will open the shutter, assessee will clean the shop, assessee will buy the product, assessee will sell the product, assessee will manage the finance, etc. Everything will be done by the assessee. What do you feel? Everything has to be done by the assessee. If I say carried on by assessee, yes, Bhavisha, you are saying something. It means the business has to be in the name of the assessee. Can I say the control of the business has to be in the hands of the assessee? Please tell. Can I say the control has to be in the hands of the assessee? What do you mean by carried on by assessee? Carried on by assessee means the control has to be in the hands of the assessee. Carried on by assessee does not mean that everything has to be done by the assessee. The control has to be in the hands of assessee. Like if you know, if you are aware of it, I'm saying you something, I don't know whether you are aware of this or not, that if a non-resident has to do business in India, they have to hire an agent in India. Do you know that? I don't know whether you are aware of this or not. We will be learning this later on in the chapter of non-residents. But generally, if a non-resident has to do business in India, they have to hire an agent in India. That agent will do everything on behalf of that non-resident. Will buy goods, will sell goods, will file return, will talk to income tax officer, will attend assessment, so on and so forth. Everything will be done by that particular non-resident itself. But the control is in the hands of the non-resident. It means the assessee is not that agent. The assessee is that non-resident itself. So, carried on by assessee means the control has to be in your hands. That is what is important. Is everyone clear? Please let me know. And last but not least, at any time during the previous year, it is not necessary that the business should be conducted throughout the year. Not necessary. It can be conducted for some time during the previous year. That depends upon the nature of business. If you are selling an FMCG product, if you are selling daily soaps, or detergent powders, or if you are selling Maggie, then you might sell on a daily basis, right? But if you are selling Rolls Royce, then you might not sell on a daily basis. You might sell one Rolls Royce in a year maybe, or two in a year maybe. Rest of the time you are sitting idle in your sales office. People do not go to buy Rolls Royce every day. Therefore, business need not be carried for all 365 days. Even if it is carried for some time during the previous year, it is sufficient. Further, it is not necessary that business should be conducted in AY. Conducting business in AY is absolutely not necessary. You should do business during the PY. It may happen that in the PY business was there, but in the AY the business is closed. Yes or no? It may happen like that. In that case, don't worry. Don't worry. Your business will be subject to still tax. You don't be under an impression that because in the AY it is closed, now why will I be able to pay tax? You are able to pay tax. You are supposed to pay tax if you have done a business even for a single day in the previous year. Because what the law says that your business should be carried out during the previous year. It does not talk about AY. AY is not mentioned in the charging section. So business is always conducted in PY, not in AY. In AY, what you will do? You will only do the formalities of computation of income, filing of returns and other aspects. Is it clear? So this is what your charging section is all about. Your first charging section, your general charging section of PGBP. So if you fulfill these things, your income will be classified under the head PGBP. So what is profits and gains is written over here. Illegal, legal, cash kind, real profits. There are some exceptions I have mentioned over here. Where profits are not real, profits are deemed, anticipated, etc. Clear? Now coming to a big discussion. Once it is established that your income is classified under which head? Once it is established that your income is which income? Please say. PGBP income. Please tell me. Don't see in the books, please. Please tell me what will be your next step. You know that your income is classified under PGBP. Computation. You will start to compute now, right? Right or not? So the computation mechanism is given in section 29. Section 29 talks about how to compute PGBP. Okay? Okay. Shall we start now? So what is the answer to this question given by the law? The law is funny at times. The law says that I asked such a big question to the law. How to compute PGBP income? See the answer of the law. Don't see in the books. See the answer of the law. Law says that according to section 3243D. That's it. Full stop. I asked such a big question. How to compute PGBP income? The law says that read section 3243D. You will come to know. There is no specific format given by the law, unlike other heads of income. Let me speak about other heads. House property. Is there a proper format under the head house property to compute income? What is the format? GAV minus municipal taxes paid, NAV, 30% standard deduction, interest on loan borrowed. Barabar? There is a proper format. Is there a proper format in capital gains to compute income? Capital gains, is there a proper format given by the law? Yes, they have given. Kopichan. Full value of consideration minus expenses on transfer will give you net consideration minus cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, index cost of acquisition, index cost of improvement, right? Then you get what? You get your capital gains, long term, short term, whatever it is. There is a proper format. There is a proper format given over there. But when it comes to what? PGBP. The law says that read 3243D, you will come to know. Such a vague answer, such an incomplete answer. Now, even if I read section 3243D, what is written in 3243D? There are mainly two things. Mainly, one is deductions and one is disallowances. One is written that if you do these things, you will get deduction. One is written that if you do these things, you will not get deduction, right? This is what is written in 3243D, right or not? Like I'll tell you, if you buy an asset, you can claim depreciation. This is a deduction for you, right? But at the same time, if you make a payment of cash in excess of 10,000 rupees to someone, then it is disallowed. Now, these are the things which are written in section 30 to 43D, right? Now, even if I become an expert of these 14 sections, how will I compute PGBP? Please tell me, before computing PGBP, do we need to have a PNL first of all? Do we need to have a PNL? Yes or no, beta? So, in CA Inter also and in office also, you apply these sections, right? But before that, you draft a PNL, na? So, how to make that PNL? First of all, tell me that. Then we will talk about 30 to 43D. First of all, explain me how to make that PNL. So, about that PNL, it is written in section 145. And there are 3 subsections in this section. Subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3. This talks about maintenance of books of accounts by the taxpayer. And listen carefully, what does it say? This section says that if an assessee is covered under the head PGBP or it is covered under IFOS, then they have an option to go for mercantile system or cash system. But whatever they are going for, they have to follow it regularly. Follow regularly. The government is giving you an option. Now, can I say, the moment I write this particular thing on the board, especially the second point, mercantile means accrual system. Okay. And cash means you accept the money, you pay the money, and accordingly you determine the profits. In cash system, your bank account itself is your profit and loss account. Whatever income you have received is your income. Whatever payment you have made is your expenditure. That's it. Matter close. Receipt minus payment is your profit. The moment I write this particular options, especially the yellow one, can I say I am going ahead from accounts? Does accounts allow you to follow cash system? I am asking you a question, a very big question. You should know this. You are a CA final students. Learned account at so many levels. Please answer. Does financial reporting allow you to follow cash system? Please tell. Allow or no? Absolutely a big no. So the moment I write that tax give you an option of mercantile and cash, I divert from accounts. There is a great difference between tax and accounts. Mercantile system, yes, this is accrual system. Now please tell me, for mercantile system, should there be some standards? Now globally there are different kind of mercantile system which are followed. Forget about globally. In India only we follow two kind of standards. Some people follow Ind AS, some people follow accounting standards. Yes or no? Ind AS is still not mandatory for all companies. For whom it is mandatory? Whose turnover is more than 500 crore is gone, I guess, as per my knowledge. The turnover is reduced now. I am not much sure about the turnover, but I think so it is 250 crores. A company whose turnover is more than 250 crores, Ind AS is mandatory for them. And all those who are lesser than 250 crores, they have an option. They follow Ind AS or they follow accounting standard, whatever they want to follow. So in India only, the mercantile system has two accounts, two systems, two standards. So which standard to follow? The government says that if you are following a mercantile system, you have to follow the standards as notified by central government. And what central government has notified? Earlier central government used to notify accounting standards, but now they have not notified accounting standard. They have given their own standard by the name called as income computation and disclosure standards. Earlier this was also called as tax accounting standards, but then they removed the word tax accounting standard and then they put the name as ICDS, income computation and disclosure standards. So in income tax you have to follow ICDS, not accounting standards given by ICAI or Ind AS given by ICAI. Forget about ICAI now. You have to follow the ICDS given by the CBDT. Central Board of Direct Tax has made its own accounting standards by the name called as ICDS. Earlier it was called as tax accounting standard. They removed the name tax accounting standard, then they put the name income computation and disclosure standard. The reason being why they removed the word tax accounting standard and put the word income computation and disclosure standard, let me tell you. Because there was some confusion in assessee's mind. When the government given a draft in 2013 that there will be tax accounting standards, people started having confusion that am I supposed to have a separate accounting for tax? There is one books of accounts which you make as per accounts, right? So now the government is introducing another accounting system, tax accounting standards. So am I supposed to again pass an entry for tax? Because the term used by the law was tax accounting standard. It means am I supposed to account? Am I supposed to book an entry in taxation system also? And am I supposed to maintain two books of accounts? The department said, we are sorry, we are removing this name. You are not supposed to maintain two books of accounts. Books of accounts will be maintained as per accounts only. But as per ICDS, you will only compute your PGBP income as per standards and then you will disclose in the tax audit report. It is only for computation of PGBP income. And it is only for the purpose of what? Disclosure in the tax audit report. So earlier what used to happen? Earlier, PGBP computation was a two-step formula. First, net profit as per P&L, which will be as per books of accounts. Okay. And then add and less section 30 to 43D. Okay. This is how you do PGBP. But now, after ICDS, what will happen? Will you make a separate accounting standards? Will you make a separate books of accounts for tax? Will you make a separate books of accounts for tax? No. Net profit will be as per P&L only, which will be as per what? Books of accounts, right? Then there is an additional step. Add or less the ICDS effects. And then add or less what? 30 to 43D. Is everyone clear? So this middle step is an extra step. So this ICDS effect will be what? You need to learn ICDS for that. We will be learning few ICDS which are relevant for your exams. And you have to see the effect in the accounts and in the effect in the tax. If it is differing, then you have to give an effect of that also as per tax. So this is an extra step which has been put by the government. Is it clear? And last but not least, subsection 3 over here. What does it say? Pay attention on the board. I'll explain from the board itself. Subsection 3 says that if you do not follow subsection 1 and 2. What do I mean by I do not follow subsection 1 and 2? What do I mean by that? What do I mean by I do not follow subsection 1? No, that is subsection 2. I am again saying what is written in subsection 1. Please pay attention. What is written in subsection 1 is if you are covered under PGBP or if you are covered under IFOS, you have two options. Mercantile or cash, you can opt either of the two. But what is written below, you have to follow regularly. You cannot switch on a year-to-year basis. Suppose in some year there is lot of money which is received. You receive lot of money. So you will say what? Mercantile. Because you receive lot, so mercantile is better. Right? And suppose in some year you have not received much but accrued much. So you will say cash. So you cannot switch on a year-to-year basis. You cannot do that on a year-to-year basis. Once you follow accounting system, you have to regularly follow that over the years. You cannot regularly switch. So if you switch regularly, you are violating subsection 1. And if you do not follow the standards, you are violating subsection 2. Is it clear? In either of the case, if you violate subsection 1 or subsection 2, then the assessing officer will do a best judgment assessment of yours under section 144, which is very dangerous assessment. Very dangerous. For more information, you need to learn the chapter of assessment procedure later on. We cannot speak about that as of now. For that, you need to learn the chapter of assessment procedure. So you can just go through these 3 points which I have said you just now. How to compute PGBP income, but before computing PGBP income, you have to follow what? 145. You can just read these 3 points. Okay. In exam, you don't have to do anything. The P&L will be ready in front of you. Nobody is asking you to make a P&L in tax. This is not an account subject where you will start to make P&L first and then you will do PGBP. Then you will only be able to do only one question in the exam. The P&L will be ready in front of you. Don't worry about it. Okay. So now, assuming that the PGBP P&L is ready in front of us and that will be always given in the exams, don't worry about it. Our duty is mainly to learn 30 to 43D. अपने को वही पढ़ना है 30 to 43D. That's it. Mainly our duty is that only. Nothing apart from that. Okay. So shall we start? The first thing which we will start in this is deductions. What? And then after deductions are over, we will talk about disallowances. Let us start with some positive things first, right? Why to start with negative things like disallowances? Now, let us categorize the deductions. All the deductions under income tax law, board pay, please see on the board, are categorized in section 30 to 37. These 8 sections talks about deductions. Okay. Now, these 8 sections are further categorized into 2 parts. You need to understand this category first. Specific deductions, which are covered in section 30 to 36. And then there is general deduction, which is covered in section 37(1). Okay. In this specific deductions also there are 2 categories. One which is available to all assessees. One which is available to certain sectors. Now listen carefully. Carefully listen. Understand this bifurcation first. Understanding this bifurcation is must to understand this chapter. All the deductions are mentioned here. Okay. First of all, categorize them into 2 parts. Certain deductions are specific deductions and certain are general. So what is the difference between specific deduction and general deduction? Specific deduction will talk about the name of the expenditure. Like this deduction is for depreciation. Like this deduction is for rent. Like this deduction is for interest. Like this deduction is for bad debts. Like this deduction is for bonus and commission. Like this deduction is for insurance, repairs, etc. It will speak about the name of the expenditure. Now I am asking you a simple question. Can you list down all the expenses in this world which a business can claim? Can you give me an exhaustive list? Can you? It is not practically possible, right? It is not practically possible. So the government has to give a general deduction where they will say if you do not come over here, then come here, right? They have to, because they cannot give you an exhaustive list. They also don't know what are the different kind of expenditures which can be there in a business. Exhaustive list nobody can give. So if your case doesn't fall in the year, then you can come over here in general deduction. There are certain conditions over here which you have to fulfill. Okay. Is it clear? Now, in specific deduction, there are 2 categories of deduction. One which is available to all assessees. When I say all assessees who are doing business and profession can claim this deduction. And second, which is available to sectors. Sectors means this is sector wise. You might have done it in CA Inter also. That if you are making a hospital of at least 100 bed, then you will get deduction. Do you remember that? That is sector wise deduction. that if you are doing some scientific research, then you can get the benefit. Do you remember that? That is sector-wise benefit. That is not available to all assessees, but that is given to certain sectors. Is it clear to all of you? Please tell. So this classification in a proper manner is given in your color book also. You can see over here with all the sections at one place. Section 30 to 37. First of all 30 to 36 and then 37. 30 to 36, in that also available to all. These are sections, sector wise deductions, these are sections. Can you see this? And general deduction, there are certain conditions which you have to follow. Okay. So what are we starting today, sir? So we are starting the biggest out of all today, and that is section 32. What is section 32? Anybody? Have any idea? It talks about depreciation. Okay. So today we are going to talk about depreciation. How depreciation is allowed under the income tax law. We will try to understand this first of all. Now under the income tax law, there are 4 types of depreciation. Now be very patient in life. Get up in the morning and first of all tell yourself, I have to be patient. Okay. Because you can see now what is depreciation. You might have done this particular thing in IPCC also. But what you have done in CA Inter is not 2% also what you are going to do here. Just open your book and see how big a chapter of depreciation is. This one chapter is on depreciation, madam. Kajal को टेंशन आ गया. You will go on turning the pages, but the chapter will not complete. But don't worry, after we are done this chapter, we will revise the entire chapter in 15 minutes, not more than that. That is something which we should have as in front of us as a solution. Otherwise, there is no end of reading in this world. Right? We will learn them patiently, logically, today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is a longer lecture, 7 to 1. Today, tomorrow, entire lecture will go. Day after tomorrow will also go to learn depreciation. Okay. So this weekend is dedicated to depreciation. Okay. Shall we start? So the first thing which I would like to tell you all, beta, that there are 4 types of depreciation. I am listing the types of depreciation over here. One is mentioned under section 32 subsection 1 clause 2. One is mentioned under section 32 subsection 1 clause 2a. One is mentioned under section 32 subsection 1 clause 1, and one is mentioned under section 32 subsection 1 clause 3. These are the 4 types of depreciation which are there under the income tax law. First is the normal depreciation under the block scheme. Which scheme? Block scheme. Second is the additional depreciation under the block scheme. Third one is the SLM depreciation for power generating units. Don't write, it is there in the book. Fourth is the terminal depreciation for power generating units. Now, which is the maximum part out of it? This is the most important part and the biggest one. 95% of the discussion is about that. Rest of them is 5%. 95% discussion is about the first section. That is the normal depreciation under the block. Then there is something called as additional depreciation. We will talk about that sometime later. These two we'll talk about at the end of the chapter. Okay, not now. These two will come on Sunday, not tomorrow. Sunday later half. Okay. So let us read this section first of all. We will start with this normal depreciation under the block scheme. What does this section has to say? Come to page number 2.1 of your textbook, all of you, please. Section 32, subsection 1, clause 2. We will read it together. I will read, you will listen. Now what is written over here? In respect of building, machinery, plant or furniture being tangible asset. Know-how, patent, copyright, trademark, license, franchise or any other business or commercial rights of similar nature being intangible asset, not being goodwill of a business or profession. Owned wholly or partly by the assessee. I am just reading it once first of all. And used for the purpose of business and profession. Depreciation shall be allowed on WDV of the block of asset at the rate of prescribed percentage. Now listen carefully all of you please. There are a lot of questions which I am raising in this particular paragraph now from year to year. Now what are the questions that I am raising? Listen carefully all of you one by one. Shall I start? The first thing which is written over here is building, right? So I will need to know what do you mean by the term building, but unfortunately building is not defined in income tax law. Now you will say, what is building, sir? We see on the road, sir. What is building? We know that, sir. Please don't generalize the law. In the eyes of the law, we need to see what do you mean by a particular term. We are not reading a newspaper. We are reading a law. Okay? If everybody will start to interpret law as per their convenience, the law cannot prevail in this country, right or not? There has to be consistency in law. Should 140 crore people in this country should interpret income tax law in the same manner? नहीं क्या बोल रही है काजल? Everybody should interpret in the same manner, right? If everybody will start to interpret in their own way, then the judges will go mad. Judges will go mad because then every issue will go to the court then, right? Unfortunately, building is not defined in the law. There is no definition of building in the law. Okay, then we'll see what to do. Okay, we'll see how to interpret then. Machinery is not there. Furniture is not there, but plant is defined. So out of the 4 tangible assets, 1 is defined. 3 of them are not. Okay. We'll talk about the definition sometime later. Know-how, patent, copyright. With goodwill, the closest intangible asset to our heart is goodwill, right? The first intangible asset of our life, which we have learned, is goodwill, right? But that itself is removed from the income tax law as an intangible asset. Government does not consider that as an intangible asset. Chalo, theek hai. Own. The assessee should own the asset. The word owner is not defined in the law. Again, the word ownership is not defined. What to do then? We will talk about that. The entire 32 pages is the discussion of these 8 lines. That's it. The entire chapter of 25-30 page, whatever it is discussion of these 8 lines. This is how you should read law. And when we'll be doing the questions now of past papers, etc., you'll come to know how minutely ICI asks paper. How minutely they ask the things. Unless and until you have done an in-depth studies, you will not be able to crack the paper. You will not be able to crack the paper. Unless and until you have done in-depth studies. So what are we doing right now? We are at the first stage of our preparation. We are understanding the concepts. Okay. Second stage, we will try to memorize from our color book and from our revision videos, right? And the third step, we will try to apply by solving problems. And the fourth step will be at your end. That will be your duty to mock yourself. That I cannot write on your behalf. For that you need to write a paper. The paper will also be given by me only. Don't worry. Okay. I will be doing it for you all. But not now, in the last 4 months of the exam. Now nobody is serious to study. I know that. Nobody will be serious around 8-9 months before the exams. So in the last 4 months, we'll be doing a mock test. Okay. And I'll be giving you agenda, the topic wise, that for the next 15 days, you have to do these topics. Like I'll just show you. I'm doing it for November 22 students. As you can see over here. Can you see this? One test, 50 mark test, then another 50 mark test, another 50 mark test will complete the entire portion. Okay. And then the final test of 100 marks as per ICI standards. You have to follow this religiously. Mocking yourself is very important in CA exams. Unless you mock yourself, you will not realize only. You will go and do all the kind of blunders in the exam then. You will feel that you will get 80, and when you will come out of center and when you will see the result, you will not get 40 also. And then you'll call for the certified copies and you'll see that you have made such mistake that you yourself will fail you. If you will check your own paper, you will only fail yourself. Forget about the examiner. You will say what kind of blunder I have made in the paper. So you can only learn your mistakes by doing mistakes. That's it. You can improvise on your mistake provided you do mistake first. And everybody will do mistake. I know that. Nobody is perfect. So you have to follow this religiously for your attempt May 23, November 23. I'll be releasing in the last 4 months. Okay. Anyways, coming to the discussion. The word owner is not defined. Next, the asset should be used for the purpose of business. That is also not defined. Depreciation shall be allowed on WDV of the block of asset. Let's come to this discussion first of all. That at least WDV is defined under income tax law in section 43(6). It is defined. At least that is defined. And at least we are aware now under income tax law we have to follow which method of depreciation? At least WDV has to be followed as of now, not SLM. Okay. WDV is the method which income tax law allows you. Then of the block of asset, the block of asset is also defined in section 211. That is also defined. And the percentage of depreciation will be prescribed by the government. Okay. So the first thing which I would like to explain you out of this entire paragraph. I am not getting into the technical and the difficult aspect of this particular paragraph today at least. I am starting with some simple things today. Shall I? The first question, very simple one, I would like to ask you all. Please answer. Where will I find the rates of depreciation? That building is depreciated at what rate? Plant and machinery is depreciated at what rate? Furniture is depreciated at what rate? Motor vehicle is depreciated at what rate? Computers are depreciated at what rate? Where it is written? So first thing, where it is written as per this paragraph? At least tell me that. As per this paragraph, where it is written? It is written at the last line. I am not asking any percentage whether 10% or 15% is written or not. It is written in the last line that it will be prescribed percentage. So listen, the first rule of the law. Whenever the word prescribe will come income tax rule in the income tax act, wherever the word prescribe will come under the entire income tax act, entire 298 section, wherever the word prescribe will come, it means there are some rules on that. Always remember that. Always remember that. If the government is saying this is prescribed, it means there is a rule. 100% there is a rule. Are you clear? Because, just for your information, if you go in section 2, this is section 2, okay beta? In section 2, read clause 33. What is written? Read loudly. Did you understand? Wherever the word prescribe will come, it means there is a rule for that. Will you remember this? Henceforth, I will not say this. Henceforth, you will only say me. Sir, here it is written prescribe. Where is the rule? Sir, prescribe is written in this section. Where is the rule, sir? Please tell us the rule. Then I will speak about the rule if that rule is applicable for exam. If that rule is not applicable, I will say it is not applicable. Okay? All rules are not applicable. The entire income tax rule is not applicable for exam. You will go mad. It is as big, it is bigger than the act. Act is smaller as in front of the rules. It is bigger than the act. So all rules are not relevant for exam. ICI has only put those rules which are relevant for exams, which are relevant in day-to-day life. There are certain rules which are not relevant. So, sir, where it is prescribed? It is prescribed in rule. Sir, which rule it is prescribed? It is prescribed in rule 5, sub rule 1. Even if you spend your entire life by searching the depreciation rate in the income tax act, you will not get. You will not get. Don't search in the income tax act. Directly go to the rules and see rule 5, sub rule 1. You will get all the rates. Okay, clear? Clear? The second thing which I would like to take from this paragraph, which is simple now. I am starting with simple discussions today at least. The second thing is depreciation is allowed on WDV basis on the block of asset. Block. It is not allowed on an asset. Rather, it is a plural sentence. Plural. Block of assets. Right? And it is a block. You might have heard about block in CA Inter also to some extent. Right? But I'll be speaking in detail. Don't worry. As I've told you at the beginning of the batch that I'm not making any assumptions that you have done these things in CA Inter, that thing in CA Inter. Don't worry about it. Sir, what is a block of asset? Sir, what is a block of asset? What is the concept of block? So on and so forth. Let us try to understand that. The concept of block of asset under income tax law came long before even you were born. Okay. That is in AY 88-89. That is PY 87-88. This concept was there from this year. Earlier, what used to happen? That is till PY 86-87. What used to happen? Long back. It's a matter of around 36 years back. There was a concept of individual assets. Which assets? Individual assets. Now there is a concept of which asset? Block of asset. What's the difference between the two? Earlier, what used to be done? The way you do in accounts. In accounts, you follow individual assets, right? You do not follow block concept. Clear or not? Every asset is separate asset and all the assets are individually depreciated. Whichever method you follow, SLM you follow, WDV follow in accounts. But in tax, now you have to follow block of asset. Block means the government has made the categories of the assets. They have made 5 categories of assets. One is plant, one is machinery, one is furniture, one is building, and last one is intangible asset. Okay? They have made a group of assets and they have said that all plant and machineries will go together in one block. All furniture will go in one block, building will go in one block, and all intangible assets will be one single block. Block means what? Is the term block defined under income tax law? The answer is yes. The term block is defined under income tax law in section 2 clause 11. Block means a group of similar assets. A group of similar assets coming together with similar rate of depreciation. And assets with similar nature and similar rate will make one block. For example, this table on which my laptop is kept and the chair, both of them are part of the same block because both of them are furniture. And do you agree? Please say. This chair and this table, both of them are same block because both of them are of same nature. Why? But why we have to do all these things? Why we have to do? We need to understand the logic behind it. Why the concept of block was introduced? Who has brought this concept? This concept was brought by Dr. Manmohan Singh in Finance Act 1987. So Dr. Manmohan Singh has thought about this concept and that is prevailing even today. What is the reason? What is the logic behind block? Just try to understand and imagine a factory of Reliance Industries Limited. Please tell me. Just imagine that how many different kind of assets will be there in the factory. Right? Now I am sitting over here in a small room. There are so many assets over here. Let me tell you. This table is an asset. This chair is an asset. This laptop is an asset. This iPad is an asset. This camera is an asset. There is one TV which is there over here. That is an asset. There is one sofa which is there. That is an asset. There is an AC that is an asset. There is this building which is an asset in itself. Right? So in such a small room, there are so many assets. Okay? Just imagine about a factory of Reliance Industry. There will be hundreds and thousands of assets which are installed inside that. Right? Every time I buy an asset, I cannot individually depreciate that asset. That is not practically possible for me. That will be a very tiring exercise for me. Therefore, for ease of calculations, department has other works in life. Assessee does not have any other work. Assessee can hire 2 accountants and they will compute a depreciation on behalf of the assessee, right? But there everything has to be done by the assessing officer itself. He has many other work in life. So for ease of calculation, what the government has done, government has categorized all the assets into one group. All of them will go to the same group. All similar assets will be forming part of one group and one single calculation of the entire group. We will not do multiple calculation for individual assets. Are you clear? All plant and machinery will be grouped together and one single calculation. All furniture will be grouped together and one single calculation. So with that logic, they have divided all the assets into different category. First of all, tangible, and then intangible. And in tangible, there are few categories. Plant and machinery, you can say. Both of them are together only. Then furniture and then building. Obviously, land is not depreciable. Okay. So you have to make these blocks in the exam. Either of intangible assets. Sir, patent and know-how will go together. Yes, patent and know-how both are intangible asset will go together. Patent will be part of intangible asset. Know-how will be part of intangible asset. License fee will be part of intangible asset. Then franchise will be part of intangible. All of them will go together. Now let us come to tangible assets. Now let us discuss about the rates of them, and all of them will be depreciated on WDV of the block. WDV method has to be followed in section 32 subsection 1 clause 2 at least, which is the normal depreciation. Okay. Now listen carefully, all of you. I am talking about the rates of the depreciation now. Shall I? You have to remember these rates. Shall I? Intangible asset depreciated at 25%. Okay. Shall I go ahead? Furniture 10%. Building 10%. Plant and machinery 15%. Okay. Okay. Now, if something is not mentioned in the question, you will take these rates. By default, if the question says that plant and machinery, you will take 15%. Is it clear? By default, if the question says building, you will take 10%. By default, if the question says furniture, you will take 10%. That's it. Now, there are some other rates also. Shall I start with them? Very specific rate. Shall I start? First, computer. Where will computer get classified? First of all, classify in a proper block. What computer will be called as? Building. Furniture. Then plant and machinery, right? Computer will be going in the block of plant and machinery, right? There are only 4 blocks. Now the rate of computer is how much? Everybody should know that in office. Computer is depreciated not at 15% but at 40%. Do you agree? Computer and its peripherals. Peripherals means scanner, printer, etc., etc., all of them. Okay? Shall I go ahead? Vehicle. Vehicle, where it will be classified? First, tell me the classification. I will tell the rate. Please tell. Plant and machinery. By default, vehicle will be depreciated at 15%. Okay? Now listen carefully. There are a lot of things. Bhavisha, pay attention, beta. Yahan. By default, vehicle will be depreciated on how much percentage? 15%. Now listen, vehicle, there are a lot of things to speak. First. But if I am in the business of running the vehicle on hire, my business is running on hire. Like my business is to buy buses and then run Mumbai, Pune, Pune, Mumbai, Mumbai, Pune, Pune, Mumbai. That is my business. So can I say my business, my bus is getting used more as compared to other associates? Please tell me. If your business or vehicle is running on hire, then it is 30%. Okay? Okay. Next. Listen carefully. Vehicle. There was some recession in automobile sector in 2019. I don't know whether you know this or not. In 2019, there was a great recession just before COVID. There was a great recession in automobile sector, that is in car sector, vehicle sector. Vehicle industries were down by 50%. So to encourage their sales, our finance minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, she made a proposal that if anybody who buys a motor vehicle, okay, from 23rd of August 2019 to 31st of March 2020, if you buy a motor vehicle plus use in this period, listen carefully, if you buy in this period and use in this period, then you will get 15% extra depreciation. It means the normal vehicle will become 30 and this vehicle will become 45. Did you understand what I said? Why this was given? As an incentive to the taxpayer, so that taxpayer will think about this aspect. Yeah, if you buy in this period, then I will get extra 15% depreciation. Let's buy the vehicle. So that will give a boom to the automobile sector. Did you understand what I said? So, sir, will my depreciation increase by 15% only for that year or for every year for that vehicle? It will be now 30% and 45% every year for that vehicle, which is purchased and used in that period. So, even if you are using that vehicle today, which was purchased in that period, even in current year 22-23, you will be getting the benefit of that 30%. Did you understand what I said? So, what you are supposed to do in that period? Only buy and use both. You are only supposed to buy in that period or buy and use both. Both. You have to buy and use within that period. Then you are eligible for enhanced depreciation of 15% extra. Is it clear? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about ships. Ships are depreciated at 20%. How much? Everything is written. Don't write anything. Aircraft is depreciated at 40%. How much? All of them are what? Plant and machineries. Clear? Obviously, all of them are plant and machinery. Na? They cannot be, aircraft cannot be called as furniture or building. Obviously. Shall I go ahead? Pollution control equipment. 40%. Again, it is a plant and machinery. Okay. Then, windmills. Windmills you might be knowing, which is used to generate power. Right? Again 40%. Plant and machinery. Clear? Professional books, which are worth lakhs and lakhs of rupees. Huh? The government does not want to call this as an expense. The government calls this as an asset. And it is depreciated at 40%. It is considered as a plant. The word plant includes books. As per income tax law. I have told you na plant is defined. Out of 4 words, furniture, plant, machinery, building, only plant is defined, right? So it is defined over there. Whenever we'll see the definition, we'll talk about that. Professional books 40%. Shall I go ahead? By default, building is depreciated at how much percentage? By default, building is depreciated at how much percentage? 10%. Now listen carefully. If it is a residential building, which building? Then it is 5%. How much? Suppose Godrej is making a residential building for what? Staying of employees. Can it do so? So now this building is which building? Residential building. It is not commercial, but it is for business because it is for employees, not its personal use. Right? So it will be subject to depreciation, but at a lower rate of 5%. Is it clear? Next, if you are making a building which is a temporary structure, what kind of structure? Then it is 40% depreciated. How much? 40% depreciated. You will get all these rates in your color book and even in your textbook at both the places. You will get all these rates over here. You can see here on page number 2.2, please. One last thing I would like to say. Just one last thing. Please pay attention. At what rate mobile phones will be depreciated? Mobile phone, a very important asset in today's time. At what rate it will be depreciated? Is it a plant and machinery? Is it a furniture or building? It's a plant and machinery. At what rate it will depreciate? 15%. Don't take it as 40%, please. Some people were arguing. What argument they were making, you know? Tell me one work which mobile cannot do, which computer can do in today's time. Everything that mobile can do, computer can do. Both of them are same only. There is only a difference of screen in today's time, right? Delhi High Court said that no. Mobile phone is mobile phone, depreciation 15%. Don't take mobile phone under the category of computers, please. Mobile phones will not be depreciated at 40%. They will be depreciated at 15% only. Is it clear? And one last thing, one technical word, EPBAX. This is also depreciated at 15%. Sir, what is EPBS? This is telecom system, which is there in offices, which is there in our building also. Suppose if somebody comes to our building, guest, then the watchman calls us. Intercom. Are they right or not? Intercom. That is known as technically EPBX. It has some full form. I don't remember the full form. E stands for something, P stands for something, B stands for something, A stands for something, X stands for something. There is some full form of that. So that is also depreciated at 15%. So come to this page and ratta this, by heart this. Page number 2.2. Residential building 5%, temporary structure 40%, motor car 15%. This motor car note is very, very important. Mark this. That is 23rd August 2019 to 31st March 2020. Very important note. Okay. Now I am asking you a question of accounts. All of you please answer. An accounts question. Shall I ask? Suppose this is previous year 22-23, which is applicable for our exams. Do not forget this previous year, and assessment year 23-24, which is applicable for your exam, which is the current previous year. Okay. Now suppose if I buy a furniture of rupees 1 lakh on 15th of March 2023, the rate of depreciation on furniture is 10%. Okay. And I started using this asset from this date. Okay. Now listen carefully, all of you, and please answer me. Video. Please tell me, how will you compute depreciation in this case in accounts? In accounts, how will you compute depreciation in this case? Please tell me, beta, all of you. Bhavisha, Vinita, Kajal. 1 lakh into 10% into divided by 365. Okay. Please think again. Do you know how many days are there in a month? Huh? Huh. And do you know from 15th of March to 31st of March, how many days will be there? From 15th March to 31st March, there will be 15 days. Please tell me, one day will change your answers. How many days, Kajal beta? 17 beta. Gopichand, it cannot be 15, na? Don't make such silly mistakes. It happens with everyone. Don't worry about it. You're not the new one. You're not the first one to do this. Into 17 divided by 365, right? Now, suppose if I purchase this on 15th Feb 2023, the answer will change. If I purchase this on 14th Feb 2023, answer will change. So, there is a possibility that there can be 365 different answers. And this is how you account in accounts. This is how you calculate depreciation in accounts. There is no other way. This is the only way in which you calculate depreciation in your accounts. Yes or no, beta? But in tax department does not have that much time. Suppose in Reliance Industries, there are hundreds of assets which are purchased every year. Yes or no? On different dates. They do not have time to compute the number of days for every asset. Nor the department has the time to compute number of days for every asset. So for that purpose, you have learned in IPCC that if the asset is used for less than 180 days, take half. Do you remember that? Even if you don't remember, I'll show you the provision now. If the asset is used for less than 180 days, take the depreciation rate half. 40% will become 20%, 20 will become 10, 15 will become 7.5, 10 will become 5, 5 will become 2.5, 25 will become 12.5, right? So where is it written? It is written on page number 2.6. All of you will come to this page. Please do not read this example. Please, that would be good for you. You can read after 10 minutes. Don't read now. There is a proviso to this section. Proviso means what? Can anyone tell me? The word proviso means, just a knowledge to you all, means exception to the section. The word proviso means what? An exception to the section. Listen carefully. Let me explain you the meaning of the term proviso. There is a section. There is a main part of the section. Which section starts. Okay? And if the government wants to create what? Some exceptions to this particular thing, then they will create what? Provisos. Let me explain you the meaning of all these things. As and when the batch will progress, I will explain you these things, which will be coming again and again in law. So you should not be blind. That what is proviso? What is notwithstanding clause? You should be aware of all these things. This will not only be useful in direct tax, but also in indirect tax, also in law, also in audit, where there is some kind of law in audit also. Right? There are some acts which are there in audit also. Like CA Act, you are going to learn in audit, professional ethics. Sir, what is proviso? Proviso means an exception to the section. And proviso, generally there can be multiple provisos. There can be first proviso, there can be second proviso, there can be third proviso. It means there can be multiple exceptions. The first proviso will always start with provided that. If this is written, it means it is provided. It is first proviso. The second proviso will always start with provided also. Always. The third proviso will always start with provided further. Now, I will explain you with an example. It is just an example. Don't take it on your heart. Okay? Dil pe mat lena. It's just an example. I am making a law for our classes. There is one law which I am making for our lectures for the next 2.5 months. And the law ka main part is as follows. Nobody would be allowed to enter the Zoom meeting if they enter after 7 a.m. from tomorrow. Suppose this is the law. Okay? Okay. Now, can I be so strict in life? Please tell me. I cannot be so strict in life that I can make a statement in front of you that nobody would be allowed to enter the Zoom meeting after 7 a.m. in the morning. It means you have to enter before 7 or else you will not be allowed. I cannot be so strict. I need to create some exception. Shall I? I am creating first exception. Provided that a student can enter a meeting after 7 a.m. if he or she is unwell. First provision. It means, is it an exception? Second provision. Provided also that a student can enter the meeting after 7 a.m. if there is internet connectivity issues. Please tell. Point number 3. Provided further that a student can enter after 7 a.m. if there is no electricity at his or her place. I have to create exceptions, right or not? So, from today onwards, whenever you will see provided that, it means which proviso? First. Provided also, it means it is which exception? Exception number 2. Provided further, it means it is exception number 3rd. Sir, what about if there is fourth exception? Then the English language is over. There are no further grammatical words left now. After that, you will use further only. Are you clear? So there are sections under income tax law where there are 25 provisos also. How many? 25 proviso in one section. It means there is one section and there are 25 exceptions. So first and second you will find difference. But from third onwards it will be similar only. Are you clear? There is no grammar left here after that. There has to be some grammatical words which can be used. There is nothing left after that. Then the law used further. 10th proviso further, 11th proviso further, 13th proviso further, 20th proviso further. It will be further only. Is it clear? Okay. Now, coming to this section. It is a proviso to section 32(1). If you read 32(1), is it written anywhere that it will be 50%? Is it written anywhere that your depreciation will become 50% in the main section? Is it written? No. So we are creating an exception to that. It means we are creating a proviso to that. All of us will read together from year till year. Forget about this. This we'll talk about later. Okay. Shall I read? This you have done it in CA Enter also. You have done it in CA Enter also, right or not? But today you will learn what kind of blunder you have made in Enter. Let's read. And go and ask to your respective teacher why you have not taught us this particular point. Let me read. Where any asset falling within a block of asset is acquired by the assessee during the previous year. Please. Reading income tax law is my day-to-day work. I may read it in a very relaxed mode. You don't read it in a relaxed mode. You read every word very carefully, please. I am again reading. You have not paid attention on my sentence, what I have read now. I am again reading for you all. Where any asset falling within a block of asset is acquired by the assessee during the previous year. Say 22-23. And is put to use for the purpose of business or profession for a period of less than 180 days. In that previous year. Then the deduction of depreciation in respect of such asset shall be restricted to 50% of depreciation allowable. That's it. Wait. You have done this in CA Enter, right? Now, so I have few questions to you. First of all, what about if the asset is used exactly for 180 days? Depreciation will be full or half? You can read and answer. It's okay. Depreciation will be full or half? Louder. There is some issue in the... If it is exactly 180 days, then it is full depreciation, right? Now my job is to put you in some kind of trap. Now it is your duty that you do not fall into a trap. Shall I? Shall I? My job is to put you in some kind of trap now. I am very sure that you will fall in the trap. Shall I start? Listen carefully. Suppose if I purchase a furniture on 1st April 2022. How much depreciation will I get? Full or half? You just have to say full or half. Full. Suppose if I purchase on 1st of Feb 2023. Full or half? Louder. Half. Suppose if I purchase on 1st of August 2023. Full or half? Full. Suppose if I purchase on 3rd of October 2023. Full or half? Full or half? Say fast. Who said full? Full or half? Please tell me. And the answer is full. Listen carefully. Why? Take your calculators. What is the provision? less than 180 days. If it is used, then it is half, right? Your mind is calculator or what? That you instantly answer this. Just pay attention over here. Forget about everything. If I ask you from today's date, 31st March, how many days are there? Will you calculate in 2 seconds? I'm just asking you, Vinita. I'm giving you 2 seconds. Tell me from today's date to 31st March day, how many days are there? Tell me fast. Tell me. Your time is over. Will you be able to tell me? We are normal human being. We are not extraordinary mathematician. Okay? Without calculating how many days will be there, how your mind works, shall I tell you? You are saying half, na? How your mind worked? Your mind worked because it is 3rd of October. 6 months have gone. So it would have been, it is less than half year, right? Does the law use the word less than half year or less than 180 days? So you should calculate days. Calculate on calculator. Fast beta Vinita, all of you. No. 186 होता है. October how many days? 29 days October. Calculate. November 30. ICI will put this date only in the exam. November 30. December 31. Jan 31. Feb. Please tell. 28 days, not 29 days. Because it is October 2023 to Feb 2024 and 24 is a leap year. Gopi Chand. I'll just change this date because for our exam leap year is not applicable. So let us not think from that perspective. I'm taking this as 22. Is it clear? Now tell me how many days are happening. 180 days exactly. Exactly, beta Bhavisha. Exact 180 days it happens on 3rd October. It means if I start to use from 4th October, then it will be 179. Then it will become half. Do you agree? So keep this thing in your mind, and that is the same date which is in the mind of the assessing officer. That if an asset is put to use till 3rd October, then it is full. If it is put to use after 3rd October, then it is half. He do not have to calculate depreciation on 365 basis. Did you understand what I said? If it is put to use till 3rd October, it comes to exact 180 days. If it is put to use on 2nd October, then it will be 181. Yes or no? If it is on 1st October, then it will be 182. Yes or no? So I told you, I will make you fall in a trap. Are you ready for the biggest trap of this section? Before that, if you want to read, you can read it once more. Then you will say, otherwise you will say, sir is not giving us time to read. You read this paragraph once more. I am telling you, don't read casually. Give importance to every word in this world. Whatever I have highlighted. Read? Shall I ask you the question now? So listen carefully, please, all of you. I have purchased and I have used. I am making 2 columns. Okay. Shall I ask you the first question? I have purchased furniture on 15th of April 2022 and I have put to use on 15th of July 2022. How much depreciation I will get? Full. Full in which year? 22, 23? Bolo beta. Clear? Gopi Chand, where are you? This is a very important issue. Shall I go ahead? I have purchased on 15th of July 2022 and I have put to use on 4th of October 2022. How much depreciation I will get? Louder. Half, because it is used for less than 180 days. Right? Previous year 22-23 I will get. Okay, third question. I have purchased on 15 July 2022 and I have put to use on 15th of March 2023. How much depreciation I will get? Half. Previous year 22-23. Till here everything is correct. Okay, you are not fallen in the trap. There is nothing like trap in this. Trap will come now. Wait. कैसे गिराता हूं तुमको देखो. I have purchased an asset on 15th March 2023. Okay. And I have put to use on 15th of April 2023. Full, but in which year? Current year 0. Current year 0 ना 22-23 में 22-23 0 right 23-24 full. Okay, because you are using from April till March, right? 15th March 2023 I purchased the asset and 15th March 2024 I put to use. Current year 0, obviously 22-23 0. Correct. What about next year 23-24? Please say. काजल हाफ बोल रही है एंड द आंसर इज फुल. फंसा दिया मैंने ट्रैप में तुमको. मजा आ गया मुझे. आई एम एंजॉयिंग इट. नाउ लेट अस रीड. सी दिस सिचुएशन वेरी केयरफुली. यू आर परचेसिंग ऑन 15th March 23, right? And in the next year you are putting use for only 17 days, right? Only 17 days. Still I am saying full. Why I am saying full? Because there is something written in the law which you have missed it. Shall I read? Listen carefully. Shall I read, beta? That's the reason I said you 2 to 3 times that read it carefully. Give importance to every word in the law. Shall I read? You will understand that the smallest of the words, we do not give any respect to that whatever in our life. That will play such an important role in this paragraph now. The word which will play the most important role in this paragraph, we do not give respect in our day-to-day life to that word. Let's read. Where any asset falling within a block of asset is acquired by the assessee during the previous year. When is it acquired? In our example, which previous year? 22-23? Acquired in 22-23, na? Yes or no? And is put to use. And is put to use for the purpose of business and profession for a period of less than 180 days in that previous year. It means the year in which you acquire. If you put to use for less than 180 days in the same previous year, then only depreciation is restricted to 15%. I don't know whether you got this point or not. Don't worry. I'll speak in 2-3 ways. Read the section. What does this proviso says that when 50% will happen? Do you know that? That if you acquire in a year and in that same year if you put to use for less than 180 days, then it becomes half. Read the section. It means if you acquire in 1 year and if you put to use for even 1 day in the next year, na, 1 day, then also you will get full depreciation in the next year. This proviso is applicable only to the year of acquisition, not to subsequent years. Check it properly. The law uses the word that. The law does not use the word any. This is how you will become expert, beta. Nobody teaches you this in CA Inter. Did you know about this from CA Inter? This is a very big thing. In fact, in CA Inter, you take half only in the next year, which is wrong as per law. So, did you understand when this proviso is applicable? When I acquire and put to use in the same year, then you have to check 180 days or not. But if I acquire in 1 year and put to use in the next year, subsequent year, then you do not have to check whether it is used for 180 days. Even if it is used for a single day, then also you will get full depreciation in the subsequent year. Is everyone clear? Please tell me. This is a very important adjustment of CA final exam. Institute will test this in your exam. Please be very careful. Now you can read this example. Otherwise, my suspense would have been ruined here. And you would have not learned also, na beta, properly. Now you thought on that, you made mistake. Now you have learned. Now you will not forget the word that. Yeah, if it would have been written in any previous year over here instead of that, then your answer is correct. Then it would have been up. Right? But the law is not using the word any previous year. The law is using the word in that previous year. That means the year of acquisition. Is it clear? So please, you can go through this example now. And if you have made a mistake, you can mark this example, that when you will revise, you will go through this example once. I will make sure that you make mistakes in class. That is the way you will learn it. I will not say one-sided. Even if you are listening the lectures in Google Drive or recordings later on, you have to follow the pattern which I am telling you, please. Don't have a one-sided communication. Speak at your home without thinking about whether I am live or not. Speak at your own. That will only make you. It's a theoretical paper ultimately. Direct tax is not a practical paper like FR or SFM. It's a theoretical paper, but it's a logical paper, not very much theoretical like a boring paper like audit. Audit is a boring paper, sorry to say. It's an interesting subject. It's not boring. You will not get bored for 3 hours. You will not come to know when 3 hours are completed. Generally, sitting for a 3-hour lecture in recording or virtual live is a difficult task for me also, for you also. For me also, it is difficult to teach for 3 hours. But because of direct tax, it doesn't matter to me. It's an interesting subject. Is it clear, beta? You can mark down this particular concept properly in your color summary book only, because ultimately you are going to read from here. Mark this very precisely on page number 2.2. Very important. Clear? So let's end the lecture here. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow with depreciation. So did you realize in 1 hour we have done just few things of depreciation? Just the rates, classification of assets. That also I have not defined the assets. I have not given you the definition also of what is plant. Right or not? That we'll see tomorrow. Okay. So bye all of you. Take care.